Waffle went MIA, reappeared 5 months later, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Shelty Mom. So I never knew that there was a name for this, or indeed that lots of people had experienced odd things. Stoked to have found a Reddit dedicated to this sort of thing. We moved into our house in October, and the first morning we woke up there, I got up early and made waffles. He had one, I had one, he had his second, and I had my second one, and left it to cool for literally 20 seconds while I answered the phone. When I turned around, my plate was there, but my waffle was gone. Vanished. My first thought was that my partner had taken it, but he swears he didn't, and I've never known him to eat things that weren't his, or to eat 3 waffles for that matter. And I don't think he could have eaten it in the time allowed either. Our dogs were at my parents' house because of the move, so counter-surfing was not an answer either. In time, I stopped wondering and it just became a joke to ask, but what happened to the waffle? A couple weeks ago, my partner got up first, made coffee, brought me a cup, and we were enjoying a lazy morning. Over an hour later, I wandered off to the kitchen to make eggs, and there, on the counter, was a hot waffle. I feel it prudent to mention now that I am the classic skeptic. My partner is the classic believer. We will call each other Mulder and Scully in jest. This is precisely the kind of long con joke he'd play in the interest of proving that there's something I'll believe, even for just a moment. So instead of freaking immediately, my reaction was to march into the bedroom, intending to throw the waffle at him and call him on his prank. Halfway down it hit me. The waffle was still warm, as if it had just come out of the maker. He hadn't left my sight the entire time. There was no way it would have still been warm. I turned around and looked for the waffle maker, and it was not only under the counter, but it was cold. It's ancient, and it always takes ages to cool off, and it was clear it hadn't made anything that morning. There was no way to make the waffle and no one to make it. How did it get there? I can't think of any rational explanation for this. Eat food, but not really. Posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Coziette. About a year ago, my friends and I were having a small gathering outside. There were about 5 to 6 friends I met at church, and were just about done eating the food with my close friend, let's call her Isabel, prepared. Pupusas. We're all sitting around one of those big white plastic tables you rent for birthday parties, when Isabel's boyfriend, Erwin, calls out, "Who wants ice cream?" Naturally, everyone gets up and rushes towards the ice cream bucket, except for Isabel and I, who decide to wait for them to finish before getting our ice cream scoops. I remember thinking to myself that I had to finish the pupusa in front of me before getting the ice cream. I'm kind of full, but I powered the pupusa down for fear that I will offend Isabel if I don't eat it. After taking the last bite, I throw away the styrofoam plate before going to the ice cream bucket and serving myself one giant scoop on a waffle cone. I return to my seat next to Isabel, and the styrofoam plate is still there. And not just the styrofoam plate, but now the whole pupusa I had just gobbled down moments before is lying right before my eyes. I immediately think someone's playing a prank on me because I swear I finished it, so I ask Isabel if she gave me the extra pupusa, and she says no, I never ate it. Antibiotics on the coffee table, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Cat Pow Meow. As I was writing about the bracelet, I remembered something that happened to my mother a few years ago. I'll make it quick. So my mom went to the pharmacy with her best friend to buy some antibiotics for my little brother. And after she bought the stuff, she went home to change clothes and left the antibiotics on the top of the coffee table and left with her friend somewhere else. The thing is that a couple hours later she got home and the antibiotics weren't on the table. So she started looking everywhere and just could not find them. She gave up and called her friend, explaining the whole thing, when all of a sudden her friend goes silent and says this: "I just got home and found your bag with antibiotics are on my coffee table. 1 major and 2 minor, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Old Woman of the Woods. 1. Chopping garlic one day, I reached over the cutting board for the next head and knocked the knife off. I jump back so I don't get cut on my foot, and the knife is gone. No clatter of it hitting the floor. It's just gone. Never turned up again. Berenstein and Berenstain happened in the early 80s. I remember arguing about it at school. It was the book Faraday, and there were several of us freaked out by the cover name change, that bee book with the bicycling bear. The big one. This happened the same year as Stein, and is the only reason I can't just write this all off. My birth date changed. I was born on Wednesday, November 24th, 1975, the day before Thanksgiving. That was the day we circled the calendar, the day I got to take cookies in for the class, the day my mom and dad would call to ask what I wanted for Christmas, and suddenly, it wasn't. I was filling out one of those birthday club cards to get a free ice cream cone, and my mom had to sign it. She signed it and said, "You got the date wrong, though. You were born on the 26th, the day before Thanksgiving." My mom had to take me to the library and look up an old almanac or some such before I quit arguing about it. I was, and still am, pretty freaked out by it. I still double-check sometimes, thinking that the 26th just isn't right. It keeps being the 26th. Cancer Glitch, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Contra Cats. Throwaway because reasons, but I'm very confused. This morning, I realized I had a protruding bump in my mouth in the most inconvenient and annoying place, right under my gums, and was slightly annoyed but shrugged it off as a canker sore. I flipped my lip up to look in the mirror and noticed it was red with white spots. It was pretty gross, but nonetheless I ignored it and thought it would go away on its own, which it terrifyingly did. A few minutes after looking at it, I poked it with my tongue and realized that after I did, it had disappeared in my mouth. I went to the mirror and flipped up my lip again to see, but it had completely vanished. I felt a weird pulling sensation after I realized, and it kind of got lost in the reflection of my eyes. Things felt different, and it's really hard to describe. I did some research after to see what the sore was, and it almost exactly resembled the pictures of early-stage oral cancer sores. Does anyone know what just happened? Alone in a Universe, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Lemonbird. This may sound weird because it still feels weird looking back. So I was with 3 friends driving around in this small town by a beach when we come across this weird little concrete place half buried in the ground, filled with tunnels and dark rooms. The whole place is obviously where dumb teenagers do drugs, but we were dumb teenagers, so we decided to check it out. 2 other people, a boy and a girl, were also running through the tunnels that didn't seem bothered by us, and it was only 3 p.m., so there probably weren't any murderers. So we were going through some of the hallways, not very long but very dark, and eventually split up. As I said, this place is half underground with lots of staircases going above to a grassy place where you can look at tunnel openings and little courtyards, and so it's not like you could actually get lost. So I was sitting in one of 3 or 4 courtyards just thinking about life, when I realized I hadn't seen or heard my friend in probably 10 minutes. I got a little worried, so I climbed up to the grass part and tried calling for them, but no answer. I was getting a weird feeling about this, but my phone said it had only been 15 minutes. I tried texting them, but there was no reception, so I decided to brave the tunnels alone. I swear I went through every dark room and hallway and didn't hear them once, so I'm freaking out, but I think it's probably just a stupid joke. But now 30 minutes had passed, both cars, Ours and two people from the beginning were still there. But I didn't hear anyone. It was absolute silence everywhere, and I was freaked out. So this went on for an hour and a half. An hour and a half of silence, and I didn't think they could hold a joke for that long. I'd just gone back to another room that had a cool fireplace when I heard my friend calling for me. I run out to find them in the center and yell at them for leaving me alone, when they swear that I was gone for just a few minutes. I looked at my phone, and sure enough, only 5 minutes had passed from when I first looked at it when I sat down to think. I said nothing to my friends except I insisted we leave right that second. But to make sure I wasn't dreaming or something, I took all of them through the tunnels and the room I went during that hour and a half, and sure enough, I could predict and recognize the graffiti, and I knew my way through everything. That scared them into leaving, as they had been going through it the whole time and had seen me sitting on the edge without moving until they called for me. So basically, I'm probably in some weird hell alternate reality right now. School Morning Glitch, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by I Am Totally Creative. So I'm a new Reddit user and have heard many stories that were written on here being narrated on YouTube. This is one of my favorite subreddits, and when this happened, I decided to make a Reddit account and get this out there. I'm in high school and I have an alarm to wake me up. My mom calls me a few minutes after I have my alarm set to make sure I'm awake. A few days ago, I woke up to my alarm at 6:50, as always, and my mom called me at 6:55, asking if I was starting to get ready. I said yes and started getting out of bed as I began to get changed into my school uniform. My mom called me again at 7 o'clock. She asked if I was up, sounding very tired. I told her I was up, and when I went upstairs, I asked why she called me again. She gave me an odd look and asked what I was talking about. I looked at my recent calls, and the only call I got from my mom from that morning was the one at 7 o'clock. But I know I got a call from her at 6:55. This has only happened one time, and I'm pretty sure this was the first glitch I've ever experienced. Has this kind of thing happened to anyone else? Very strange glitch happened just now, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Slipknot54095. I'm a big fan of this sub, and I just had a very strange experience. I made an account to put it up here. Here goes. I was playing around with the Google Play Store and came across a voice changer app. You record something and it has different voice options. As I was playing around with it, I wanted to do a scary message like off a TV show or a movie that someone might receive in a phone call with a deep male voice. I did 2 before this and they sounded perfectly fine. The third one I recorded and said, "Bring the money, come alone, harbor, no cops, or you're dead." Now I'm 100% sure I said exactly this, because I played it back not but 5 seconds later. And clear as day it said, "Or you die." And that freaked me out, because I know what I just said, and I know what just came out of my own mouth. And it was very clear, "Or you die." It can't be misheard. When I was saying, "Or you're dead," I did have a strange feeling that I shrugged off. But now I know why I had that. Anyway, this was my glitch in the Matrix. Environmental glitch and rained frogs, posted in the Glitch in the Matrix subreddit by Weird Sprout. Hi, I'm new to Reddit and just found this sub. Here's my addition. Completely true, but weird. When I was about 14, I lived in a suburb of Boston. There was a very small swamp behind my house that would dry out every couple of years and send the animals and insects out into the neighborhood looking for water. No big deal and totally normal. One night, I was out walking my dog. I was about 14 or 15 years old. It was maybe 8 p.m. in the summer, so not totally dark, but not light out either, no storms or inclement weather at all. I got about 20 feet around from the front of my house and noticed my dog going nuts everywhere. He was normally really quiet, so this was kind of weird. I started looking around and he was flipping out and noticed a bunch, like 40 or 50 dead, squished frogs all over the front of my yard and sidewalk. They were not on any other yards except mine and our closest neighbors. I was not very tall, but also noticed that there were squished dead frogs all over the top of my parents' and neighbors' cars. We had a minivan and an SUV, so they were pretty tall and no way frogs could get on top. Now I've seen magnolia, and I know that this is a natural phenomenon that does occur in nature, something about water vortices lifting light animals out of the water in a spout and dropping them later. But the weird thing is that no one in my neighborhood noticed anything weird happening that night. I didn't tell my parents about it until the next morning, and when I went outside there were 0 frogs. There were literally over 70 on our yard, tops of our cars, hoods, everywhere. Then nothing the next day. And my parents sort of looked at me strangely when I repeat the story to this day. Not sure what happened or why no one noticed almost 100 dead, squished frogs around my house, but thinking about it freaks me out to this day, and it's 15 years later.